Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're doing something that, well, feels a little different for us.
A little bit, yeah.
But honestly, I think this might be one of the most practical deep dives we've ever put together.
I agree.
Usually, we're tearing apart complex geopolitical strategy or the future of AI.
Right. Heavy stuff.
But today,
Yeah.
we're going to the mall.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Going to the mall.
Yeah.
It sounds almost trivial, but when you actually dig into the mechanics of everyday American life, I mean, how you buy a shirt, how you order a burger, how you pay for that burger, you realize you're not just dealing with transactions.
No.
You're navigating a minefield of unwritten social contracts.
Exactly. A minefield. That's the perfect word for it. We're looking at language as a code.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can crack that code, you blend in. If you don't, you're constantly, hitting these little friction points.
All day long.
And to help us decode all of this, we have a really interesting set of source materials today. We're working with 3 transcripts from the Easy Conversation English series.
Right. And on the surface, these look like, just simple dialogues for English learners.
Totally.
We have 2 characters, Sam, who's the guide, he's the local, the insider.
He knows the rules.
And then Chloe, who is the experiencer, she's the one asking all the questions we're probably thinking.
Yes.
But our mission today isn't to teach you the vocabulary for shoes or shirt. Our mission is to look at why Sam says what he says and what cultural iceberg is lying just beneath those simple sentences.
I love that, the cultural iceberg.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. And we are really targeting this for anyone who wants to understand the United States. Maybe you're a learner, a traveler, or just someone who's fascinated by how culture shapes our conversations.
It really does.
We've got a lot to cover: shopping, dining, and the universally feared math of tipping.
Oh, the tipping. We'll get there.
We will. So let's just jump right in. We're starting with Source V1, the shopping expedition.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Imagine you're in a brightly lit, air-conditioned American shopping mall.
Mm-hmm.
You walk into a clothing store, you see a rack of clothes, you pick up a shirt, and this is it. This is the first cultural collision.
The price tag.
The price tag.
This is what people call sticker shock, and it's so real. In the source text, Sam warns Chloe immediately. He says, quote, "In the U.S., the price on the tag is usually not the final price. You have to add sales tax."
And right there, that single sentence is just, it's baffling to a huge portion of the world.
Totally. To a lot of our listeners in Europe, Asia, Australia, this makes no sense. Why isn't the tax just baked into the price?
It's such a valid question. I mean, think about it.
Right.
In most of the world, if a tax is $20, you pay $20.
That's it.
So the tax is invisible, it's already included. But in the U.S., nope, it gets added right at the register. And there's a reason for that. Or a few reasons.
Okay, so what is it?
Well, it's a mix of psychology and a really specific American political structure. So first, the politics. The U.S. doesn't have a single federal value-added tax, a VAT, like the UK or France. Sales tax is determined at the local level.
So by the state or even the county?
State, county, and sometimes even the city.
So a shirt in Portland, Oregon, where there's no sales tax, might be the tagged price.
Correct. 0 tax.
But that exact same shirt in New York City is going to have almost 9% tacked on at the end.
Precisely. And because retailers are national, Think Gap or Target or H&M, they want to print one price tag for the entire country.
Of course.
They can't possibly print a different tag for every single zip code. It would be a logistical nightmare. So what they do is they print the base price, and the local tax is just calculated by the computer when they scan it.
That covers the logistics. But you said there was a psychological layer, too.
Oh, absolutely. And this is a big one.
It's marketing, isn't it? $19.99 just looks so much better than $21.75.
Yeah. 100%. It is pure marketing psychology.
Yeah.
They want the barrier to entry the moment you decide to pick up the item and take it to the register to be as low as possible.
The pain of the tax is hidden.
It's hidden until you've already emotionally committed to the purchase. We've already decided you want that shirt. You're standing in line. You have your wallet out. You're probably not going to cancel the whole transaction just because $1 or $2 was added at the very end.
Which leads to that really awkward moment for tourists, which I have definitely seen happen. Someone counts out their cash exactly to the cent based on the price tag. They put a $10 bill on the counter for a $10 item.
And the cashier just gives them that look, that patient but slightly confused stare.
Just waiting for the rest.
It's a classic rookie mistake.
Yeah.
And it can feel really embarrassing.
Yeah.
So Sam's advice in the text is so crucial here. always budget higher. If you have a $20 bill and the item is labeled $19.99, you probably cannot afford that item in most U.S. states.
You need a buffer.
You need that buffer.
Okay, so we've accepted it. We've made our peace with the math. We know we're paying more than the tag says.
A necessary first step.
Now we actually have to find something that fits. Chloe asks a question that seems pretty standard. Do you have this in a medium?
Right.
But then Sam guides her to the next logical step. He says, where are the fitting rooms?
And right there, that phrase, fitting room.
Oh, okay.
This is a prime example of dialect divergence. If you're from the UK or maybe Australia, you're probably looking for a changing room.
Or I might say a dressing room. Does that work?
Dressing room works in the US, but it sounds a little more theatrical, like you're backstage at a play or an opera, where actors get into costume.
Right.
And changing room is often understood. But in the U.S. context, a changing room or a locker room is usually what you'd find at a gym or a pool.
Got it.
In retail specifically, the standard American term is fitting room. It's very functional. It's where you go to check the fit.
And there's a whole ritual to the fitting room in the U.S., isn't there? It's not like you can just waltz in with an armful of clothes.
No, not at all. Usually there's an attendant, a gatekeeper.
Another gatekeeper.
Another one. You have to walk up. You show them your items. They might count them out loud. 1, 2, 3 items.
And then they hand you that little plastic number on a hanger.
Exactly. They give you a number 3. It's a theft prevention measure, sure, but it's also a service interaction. You're sort of establishing a relationship with the staff member there.
Which brings us perfectly to the next point. The interaction with the staff. In the role play section of the source, we see this really interesting dynamic. The customer asks for a size, and the staff member says, let me check the back.
Ah, yes, checking the back. It is the holy grail of American retail.
It really is.
Yeah.
It implies there's this magical warehouse just behind the drywall where all the good stuff is hiding.
Like Narnia, but with more sizes.
Exactly. Narnia with more mediums. But think about what that phrase actually signals about the service culture here. In many parts of the world, let's say parts of Eastern Europe or even some of those high-end specialized boutiques in Paris, if it's not on the floor, it's just not available. The inventory is what you see.
And asking the staff to go look somewhere else might even be seen as a little intrusive, like you're bothering them.
Yes, you're putting them out. But in the U.S.?
In the U.S., the staff member is a problem solver. That is their primary role. If you ask, do you have this in a medium, and they just say no and turn away, that's considered bad service.
Right.
Saying, let me check the back, is a performative act of helpfulness.
Performative, that's a good word.
Even if they know they don't have it, a good employee will often go to the back, maybe take a sip of water, check their phone for a second, and come back out just to show you that they tried.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
It's all about demonstrating the effort. It's about showing that you care about what the customer wants.
Exactly.
And Chloe notes this in the text too. She says, quote, remember, don't be afraid to talk to the staff. They are usually very friendly.
Friendly is the key word. But it's a specific type of friendly that can be overwhelming for introverts or for people from more reserved cultures.
Oh, for sure.
American retail staff are often trained to be, well, aggressive in their friendliness. You walk in the door and immediately it's, hi, how are you folks doing today? Finding everything okay? What are we shopping for?
It's the hovering technique.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want to look at the shirts in peace.
Me too. And linguistically, you need to know how to navigate that. If you engage too much, you're suddenly in a 5-minute conversation about your day.
Been there.
But if you just ignore them completely, you can be seen as rude. The source doesn't explicitly teach this, but the standard deflection phrase, the shield, really is, I'm just browsing, thanks.
Just browsing.
Yeah.
That's the magic phrase. It's the polite code for, I acknowledge you, you are doing a good job, but please leave me alone now.
That's it exactly. But the main takeaway from the source is correct. Silence isn't golden here. You are expected to acknowledge the human being who's working there. It's a very sort of egalitarian aspect of American social norms.
How so?
You're supposed to treat the clerk as an equal who is helping you, not as a servant who should be invisible.
That's a great way to put it.
Oh, right.
So we've navigated the friendly staff, we've checked the back, we've paid our hidden tax.
We survived.
We did. And now, according to the narrative in our source material, Sam and Chloe are getting hungry. We're moving on to section 2, dining out.
And this is where the complexity really, really ramps up. Retail is at its heart transactional. Dining is social.
Right.
It involves timing, etiquette, and much more complex language.
And it starts the absolute moment you walk in the door. Sam says, when you walk in, you'll meet the host or hostess.
The gatekeeper again.
Another one.
And we need to distinguish this. In a fast food restaurant or a coffee shop, you can just go sit wherever you want.
Sure.
But in a full-service American restaurant, what we call a sit-down restaurant, there is almost always a podium near the door. And there's usually a sign that says, "Please wait to be seated."
And I have seen people walk right past that sign and just plop down at an empty booth. And the chaos it causes it's palpable. The staff looks panicked.
Because it breaks the entire system. The host's job isn't just to say hello, they are an air traffic controller.
That's a good analogy.
You're balancing the workload of all the waiters, the servers. If you seat yourself, you might accidentally sit in a section where the server is already slammed with 5 other tables.
And then your service is going to be terrible.
Terrible. The host's job is to make sure customers are spread out evenly so everyone gets good prompt service. So you have to respect the podium.
And the script gives us the magic password to get past the podium. And it's deceptively simple. A table for 2, please?
Notice what isn't there.
What do you mean?
It's not, "Hello, excuse me, so sorry to bother you, but I was wondering if it might be possible to perhaps have a table for my friend and me."
No, it's very direct. A table for 2. Can that be seen as rude, that brevity? Because in some languages, being that direct can feel really aggressive.
That's a great question. In American English, specifically in a service context like this, efficiency is actually a form of politeness.
Oh, interesting.
You aren't wasting the host's time. It's loud, it's busy, they probably have a line of people waiting behind you. You are giving them the exact data they need to do their job. Number of people, that's it.
Table for 2, table for 4.
Well
Done.
done.
Okay, so you get to the table, you sit down, and often, before you even open your mouth to speak, something happens. Chloe points it out in the text. She says, water is free in the U.S. The server will often bring it before you even ask.
And it's not just water, is it? It's a gigantic glass filled to the absolute brim with ice, with maybe the splash of actual water in the gaps.
The ice obsession, yes. Why is that? I know people who travel to the U.S. and say, my teeth hurt because everything is so cold.
It's a deep-seated cultural history thing.
Really?
Yeah. Historically, ice was a luxury. In the 19th century, being able to get ice in the summer was a huge sign of affluence and sort of logistical mastery.
A status symbol.
A status symbol. And as refrigeration became standard in the U.S., maybe a bit earlier than in many other places, serving ice water became a flex. It says, we have abundance here. We have so much energy in refrigeration that we can give you frozen water for free.
Wow. I never thought of it that way. Whereas in Europe, if I ask for water, I immediately get the question, sparkling or still?
And usually a bill for a €3 bottle.
Always.
Exactly. In the U.S., tap water is the default, and it's always free. You have to specify if you want bottled. It's a small detail, but it sets a tone of hospitality. It's like, sit down, cool off, here's something for free to start. It welcomes you into the space.
Okay, so we're cooled off. We open the menu. And here is where I think the biggest linguistic trap exists for our international listener.
I know exactly where you're going.
Chloe says, in the U.S., we have appetizers and entrees.
I have seen this cause so much confusion, so many problems. We need to spend a moment on this.
Let's do it.
If you speak French, or even Australian or British English, the word entree comes from the French word entrer, to enter.
Right, it's the entrance to the meal, the starter.
It's a starter. So you logically order an entree thinking you're getting, I don't know, some soup or a few shrimp to begin your meal.
And instead?
And instead, the waiter brings you a 16-ounce ribeye steak with a baked potato and a side of steamed vegetables. And you're just overwhelmed. You haven't even gotten to your main course yet, you think.
But that is the main course.
It was the main course. In the U.S., entree has completely shifted its meaning to main course. The appetizer is the starter.
Do we know why that shift happened? It seems so counterintuitive to use the word entrance for the main event.
There are a few culinary theories about this. One of the main ones is that in old-school 19th century multi-course banquets, the entree was a substantial meat course that came between the fish course and the main roast.
Okay.
As meals got simpler over the decades and courses were cut, the heavy, meaty entree was the one that survived, so it just became the main. The other courses fell away, but the name stuck.
So the word survived, but the context around it collapsed.
Exactly. So, simple rule of thumb for you listening. Appetizer equals small. Entree equals huge. Do not mix them up, or you will end up with way, way too much food.
Speaking of huge, let's look at the actual ordering process in Source V2. Sam gives a great piece of advice for when the menu is just too big, which happens a lot.
The Cheesecake Factory menu comes to mind.
It's a novel. It's spiral-bound.
It is.
Sam says, if you're stuck, use our favorite phrase. What do you recommend?
This is such a high-value social tactic.
How so?
It does two crucial things. One, it solves your decision paralysis, obviously. But two, and maybe more importantly, it recruits the server as an ally.
Ah, it validates them. It makes them the expert.
Yes, and in the American tipping culture, which I promise we will get to, the server wants you to be happy. They are financially incentivized to give you a good recommendation.
So they won't point you to the weird stale dish that nobody ever orders.
Probably not. They'll point you to the star of the menu, the crowd pleaser, the safe bet.
And in the role play, Sam, as the waiter, recommends the cheeseburger.
The ultimate safe bet. You can rarely go wrong with a cheeseburger.
But then Chloe orders it using a phrase that the source text specifically highlights as important. She says, "Can I get a Coke, please?"
Can I get that? This is the shibboleth. This is the little linguistic marker that really separates the native-sounding speaker from the textbook learner.
The source note says, quote, "Americans commonly use 'can I get?' It sounds very natural. But I know for a fact that in many British grammar schools or even American elementary schools back in the day, teachers hated this.
Oh, they hated it.
They would say, 'Can you?' I don't know, 'can you?' Are you physically able to?"
It's the whole may I versus can I battle. But here's the reality of modern spoken American English. May I have can sound overly formal, it can sound stiff, or even a bit subservient in a casual dining setting.
I would like.
I would like is perfectly fine, but it can feel a little distant, a little demanding sometimes.
A bit like, "I demand a Coke."
A little bit. Can I get strikes this very specific American chord. It's casual, it's low stakes, but it's active. It frames the transaction as a kind of partnership. Can I get this? Implies, is it possible for us together to make this transfer of soda happen? It just sounds friendly.
So for our listeners learning English, do not be afraid of this phrase. You are not being rude.
Not at all. Just add please at the end. That is the magic dust. Can I get a Coke, please? Perfectly matches the register of 95% of American restaurants. It signals, I'm a normal, low-maintenance customer.
And then comes the pacing check. Sam, acting as the waiter, asks the question, "Are you ready to order, or do you need a few more minutes?"
This is the server managing the flow of the restaurant. In some cultures, say France or Spain, once you have a table, it is yours for the night. The waiter leaves you alone until you actively flag them down. It would be considered rude for them to interrupt your conversation to ask for your order. In the U.S., time is money. Table turnover matters. The server is checking in to keep the assembly line moving, but they phrase it as if they're doing you a favor.
Do you need more time? It sounds helpful.
It sounds helpful, but it's also a gentle nudge.
It's the soft close.
It's the soft close. They are guiding you toward the kitchen's rhythm.
Okay, let's fast forward. The cheeseburgers have been eaten, the Coke is gone, and now we enter what I think is the real danger zone. Source V3, the economics of the meal.
This is where the most anxiety exists for travelers, and rightfully so. It is confusing.
It really is, and it starts with the terminology. Sam says, in American English, we say check please. You don't usually say the bill.
And that's a great distinction to make. In the U.S., a bill is usually bad news.
Right.
You get a bill for electricity. You get a bill for a parking ticket. You get a medical bill. It implies debt and obligation and stress.
The check, on the other hand.
A check is neutral. It's just a tally. It sounds less aggressive. And again, using the local term just helps the server process your request faster. If you shout the bill across a loud diner, they'll understand you, but you sound a little foreign. Check, please. Just cuts through the noise.
Okay, so the check arrives, it's on the table, and now you have to do math.
The dreaded math.
Chloe asks the million-dollar question, how much should I tip? And Sam gives the classic answer, usually 15% to 20% is standard. If the service was great, go for 20%.
We really, really need to unpack this. This is not just a custom, it's an economic system.
It's the big one. In many countries, a tip is a true bonus. It's keep the change. It's a small reward for truly exceptional service.
Exactly.
But here, Sam is saying it's standard, it's expected.
Yes. In the U.S., tipping is not optional in the cultural sense. And this all stems from the fact that in many U.S. states, there is a separate, lower-tipped minimum wage.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means the server might be making as little as, say, $2.13 an hour from the restaurant itself. The expectation, both legally and culturally, is that the customer pays the rest of their salary directly through the tip.
So if you don't tip, or if you tip very low because you think you're saving money,
Well, they're not just being frugal.
no, you're essentially asking that person to have worked for you for free.
Yes. You're breaking the social contract. The American veer is that if you cannot afford to tip, you cannot afford to eat at that restaurant.
Okay. Now, Sam mentions that 15 to 20% range. That's still accurate today.
It's a safe historical range, but I would argue that today, in 2024, especially in major metro areas, New York, LA, Chicago, 20% is the new floor.
Really? 20% is the minimum.
It really is. 15% is often interpreted now as something was wrong with the service.
Wow. That's a kind of expectation inflation.
It is. And we see it on the payment screens now, right? When they hand you the little tablet, the preset buttons often start at 20%, then 22, then 25.
They nudge you higher.
They do.
So how do we calculate this without having a full-blown panic attack at the table? Not everyone is good at mental math, especially after a big meal and a drink.
There's an easy trick, a couple of them actually. The easiest one for many places is to take the total tax amount.
Okay.
In most places, the tax is around 8 or 9%. If you just double the tax amount shown on the check, you're going to land somewhere around 18 to 20%. It's a quick and easy estimate.
Double the tax. I like that.
The other one is the decimal method. Just take the total, say it's $50, move the decimal point one spot to the left.
So that becomes $5.
Exactly. That's 10%. Now just double that number to get $10.
And there's your 20%.
There's your 20%. Move the decimal, double it.
Simple. Move the decimal, double it. That I can remember.
And Sam adds that line, if the service was great, go for 20%. I'd modify that for today's world. I'd say, unless the service was an absolute disaster, go for 20%.
It just keeps you in the good graces of the system.
It does.
Money aside, there is one more distinctively American element to the end of the meal that the source covers. Chloe says, portions in America are huge.
The supersize me reality. American portions can be double, sometimes triple, what you'd find in Tokyo or Paris.
And because of that, you almost always have leftovers. Now, in some fine dining contexts, say in Europe, asking to take your leftover food home is, well, it's seen as a bit tacky.
A bit déclassé.
Yes, not done. It's seen as unsophisticated, like you're hoarding food. But in the U.S.
In the U.S., it is a national pastime. We love value. The thinking is, if I paid for that entire lasagna, I own that entire lasagna. I am not letting half of it get thrown away.
It would be wasteful not to take it.
Exactly. So Sam gives us the phrase, can I get a to-go box?
Or sometimes, can you wrap this up for me?
Or even simpler, just can I get a box? Everyone knows what you mean.
And there's zero shame in this.
Zero. None. In fact, it's the opposite. If you leave half a meal on your plate, a good waiter will often ask you, would you like me to box that up for you? They just assume you want it. It's efficient. It's your lunch for tomorrow.
I love the efficiency of the final interaction in the source. Chloe combines the requests.
Yes, she does.
She says, excuse me, can I get the check? And can I get a to-go box for the rest of this pizza?
That's pro-level multitasking right there. She's saving the server a trip. She's signaling, my experience here is over. I am ready to leave. Let's wrap this all up in one go.
And then comes the final step, the payment. Chloe says, credit card, please.
And this is key. Cash is really disappearing in sit-down dining. And the process itself is changing, too. It used to be they would take your card away from the table to the register.
Right, which always felt a little risky.
It did. Now, increasingly, they bring a small handheld machine right to your table so the card never leaves your sight. That's more secure, and it's been standard in Europe forever, but it's finally taking over the U.S. market.
Okay, so let's look back at this whole journey.
It's been a journey.
It really has. We started at the mall, completely baffled by the sales tax. We fought our way into the fitting room. We negotiated with the gatekeepers of the restaurant. We learned that entree means big meal. We navigated the can I get politeness trap, and we successfully calculated a 20% tip while asking for a cardboard box for our leftover pizza.
It's a lot when you list it all out like that.
It is. And it brings us right back to the core mission of this deep dive. We are not just learning vocabulary words. Sam and Chloe's dialogue is a script for social survival.
Absolutely. And look at the progression. Shopping is largely transactional. You find the object, you pay the price. It's pretty straightforward. But dining is deeply social. It's about the relationship you form, however briefly, with the server. You trust them for a recommendation. You rely on them for the timing of your meal. You pay them directly via the tip. You ask them for favors, like to-go boxes.
And the language is the grease that makes that whole machine run smoothly.
That's it. Sam's final advice in the sources: practice these phrases and you'll sound just like a local. And he's absolutely right. You don't need to have perfect, complex grammar. You don't need to know the word for photosynthesis or geopolitics.
Right.
But if you know to say, check please, instead of the bill, and fitting room instead of changing room, you remove all that social friction.
You stop being an outsider looking in,
Yeah.
and you just start flowing with the current of the culture.
Precisely. You signal, I understand the rules of this game.
Before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought to mull over. We've talked so much about service today. The friendly, hi, how are you in the store, the free ice water, the server checking in on you constantly, the tipping.
It's a very, very service-heavy culture.
It is. And my question is this: how does this language of service reflect the broader American soul? Is the language phrases like, can I get, and what do you recommend? Is that what's creating this casual transactional friendliness? Or did the culture, the need for speed, efficiency, and commerce force the language to adapt?
Yeah. That is the ultimate chicken and egg question, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, does the system of tipping create a kind of artificial friendliness? Yeah, probably. But then that friendliness, practiced over decades, over generations, it becomes a kind of genuine cultural warmth. Americans are friendly, by and large, but it's a friendliness that was born out of a commercial social contract.
We are in this transaction together, so let's make it pleasant.
Exactly. It's a fascinating loop. The culture shapes the words we use, and then the words we use reinforce the culture every day.
Something to think about the next time you're signing that credit card receipt and adding that 20%.
Definitely.
Indeed. Well, thank you all for listening to this deep dive. Be brave, use your can I gets, don't let the sales tax surprise you, and definitely ask for that to-go box.
You paid for it.
You paid for it. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone.